about Islam and dispel some of the misconceptions that surround Islam. So I want to tell you a little bit about the week that we've had so far. So we started Monday with Wear a Hijab Challenge, which was a 3-day event where we invited non-Muslim women to try on the hijab and do different challenges and really immerse themselves in the experience of the hijab. That culminated yesterday with a discussion at the Women's Resource Center. On Monday night, we had Edna Lightfish talk about Sharia then and now, and Tuesday's lecture was by Tisar Aslam, talking about Islam around the globe and the sociology of the Muslim Ummah. Tomorrow is going to be our last event, which is going to be Visit a Mosque Day, and that we're basically going to meet out on the quad, and anyone that's interested in visiting the local mosque can meet us out there, and we're going to walk over there together for the Friday prayer. And then afterwards, if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. So I'd like to thank our co-sponsors for helping bring this week together. The Student Culture and Programming Fee, CIMIC, SWORD, the Women's Resource Center, the YMCA, the Line as well, and Interfaith in Action. So as you're all eating, please take a chance and take a couple of minutes out to turn to the person next to you, and if you don't know them, introduce yourself and hopefully make a new friend by the end of the night. So our keynote speaker tonight is Omar Atia. Omar Atia currently serves as the Executive Director and Imam of the Ethical Islamic Center in Huntington. Omar Atia is a community activist and motivational speaker with more than 60 years of experience. He's also the co-founder of Reclamation Studios, a nonprofit initiative with a mission to inspire rediscovery of the kingdom of faith for Muslims around the world, and in the process, transparently create the essence of the divine message to the human family. Previously, Imam Omar's leadership guided youth and community development efforts in Indianapolis, Chicago, Cincinnati, Ohio. Imam Omar is also co-founder of the company Olive Arabic, which has successfully provided people around the world a highly accessible way to learn Arabic for more than 5 years. Imam Omar graduated from Purdue University with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering and a Master of Science in Multidisciplinary Engineering, and has completed courses with the Islamic American University towards the Bachelor of Arts in Islamic Studies. Please put your hands together for Omar Atia.
I noticed you guys were talking the whole time she was introducing me until she said Purdue University. So we're very respectful of UIUC, second best Big Ten school. All right, I begin with the prayer that was taught to us by God, said by the revered and honored prophet Moses, peace and blessings upon him, in the Holy Quran. God, make easy for me my mission. Open up my heart. Make easy for me my mission. Cure the knot of my tongue, so that everyone may deeply comprehend my speech. So I ask God to glorify and high exalt the Creator to make that possible for what I say to you tonight. And I ask you to think about Maria. You guys are all young men and young women who have amazing potential. And I was just talking to two of you about how before I was 25, my biggest problem was getting above 200 pounds, because I really wanted to bulk up, like most of you guys here. And then as soon as I turned 26, somehow the problem became I couldn't get below 200 pounds. And that's still the problem. But the reality is life changes. And we change, or we can adapt. And the way we adapt will define what we can offer the world. And Maria, she was a young woman who was abused when she was under 10. She was abused sexually and physically, and it made her broken inside. And when she grew up, she got pregnant from a young man who wasn't ready to be a father, and left her to raise her daughter by herself. And her biggest hope today is that her daughter can have a different life than she had. So far, there's a little bit better life that she has, but it's not everything she's hoping for. So there's a problem. And then there's Marvin. Marvin, about a year and a half ago, these are all real people that I met. I may change their names because if they watch this video later, I don't want them to think I talked about them without their permission. Because I don't always take everyone's permission. So your story may be in a speech someday also. Tell it to me. But I will take your permission. Since I just told you guys that. So Marvin came out of prison a year and a half ago. And when he came out, he was real excited because he had a reform when he was in prison. He met someone who preached to him about reforming his life and making a change, and he could come out and actually make the world better and then tell the story to other young men that are in the same trouble that he grew up in and make his life better and make their lives better. And he came out, but he had to pay bills. He had to live. He came out and he was given $35, and he was set free to the world. So he went to get a job. But everywhere he went to get a job, what happened? What's that? His record caused him to be rejected. Very talented, very passionate, ready to do whatever, ready to get paid lower than everybody else and make a big difference, but he can't. And then there's Robbie. And Robbie is a young man that actually is in our community. And Robbie is a young man who is from a very wealthy family. His father is one of the most specialized types of positions. Gets paid a lot of money. And Robbie has had everything he's wanted all his life, he and his siblings. And he's destined to be a doctor. Not because he wants to be a doctor, as most of my Muslim brothers and sisters here know, because his father's a doctor, and his only option is to be a doctor. But Robbie doesn't want to be a doctor. He doesn't know what he wants. All he knows is that he's not doing what he thinks he should be doing. But he doesn't know what he should be doing. He's got all this potential. Everybody that meets him loves him. Everybody knows that he can do anything he wants. But he doesn't know what he wants to do. And so the question is, what do we want? What do I want you to take away from these three stories? They're not fake stories, they're real stories. They're real people that you may have met someone just like him, or you may, even if you've come to Evansville or come to Indianapolis or come to Cincinnati, the three cities that these three people are from, you may have met one of these people yourself. But their story is not about them. It's about you and me. Because a Muslim, when someone asked me to talk about the hyphen between Muslim and American, I thought about it hard and long and deep, because I was just on the radio on Friday talking to a young woman who asked me a question that was really hard. She said, what labels, it's a show called Labels, it's starting to air tomorrow in Evansville, what labels do Muslims hear? It's a hard question, right? What labels do Muslims hear? Terrorist. What labels do Muslims hear? Radical, terrorist, radical. So everybody, their first answer is terrorist. If I ask any Muslim what's the label that Muslims hear, it turns out that my sons were sitting behind me in the car with two friends of theirs 2 weeks ago. And I thought this problem was just with adults who are watching Fox News and thinking that what they're seeing on television, that's from Islam, that's from the faith of Muslims. And so anyone who follows the faith of Muslims must be like those guys that Fox News shows. And my boys were telling me about a joke. One of them said a joke to the other about a bomb, about being a terrorist. And I thought it was really strange. And I said, you guys don't really joke around like that all the time, do you? And they said, no, but we hear it all the time. And I said, what do you mean, someone said that to you? And they laughed and they said, what do you mean, has someone said that to me? We hear that something like that once a week. One of them's in 5th grade and one of them's in 9th grade. And so it sounds sad. But the reality is that as Muslims, Americans, there's something in our faith that tells us the problem. For anyone who's Muslim here, the first thing that they know the faith is about or that we should know our faith is about, is hidden. It's been extinct. God, high and exalted, He says, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. That all the problems that exist on earth and in the seas, everything that happens, tropical storms, people dying, Maria getting abused, Marvin going to jail, Marvin having to commit crimes, Marvin choosing to commit crimes, all of it happens because of decisions we all make together as a human family. Everything wrong that happens is from decisions we make. So it sounds really gloomy. It's like really depressing. And I'm coming here right after you ate a really good meal, and I'm supposed to make you happy, but I'm telling you some really gloomy stuff. But then, the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, Muhammad, didn't leave us to think that it's gloomy. He says, there is no ill that exists on earth except that the cure for the ill exists. And what's left is that Rabi, instead of not knowing what to do with his life, he makes his cause to find a cure for one of the problems. Every young man and young woman that goes to UIUC, an amazing university like UIUC, makes their cause to find a solution to a problem. Today, we define success as a nation, as a people, Muslim and non-Muslim. We define success as, you guys can tell, we can all probably recite it together. You should, if you're going to be successful, you need to go to college. And then after college, you need to get a good job. And then you need to make sure that job does pays you when you get paid. And then you want to get paid because you need to get married and what is it? Eat. Okay, eat. That's better. I'm not judging you. I don't know. We're told rumors at Purdue about UIUC. No. So you need to eat. And you also need money because you need a big house and a nice car. And if you get that, you are successful. What'd you say, married?
Happy.
Oh, happy. Happy, married, successful, right? That's our definition of success. And if you're really, really successful, you make a whole lot of money. And you're really well off and no. You're really amazing. Everybody wants to be you. And everybody who's not your gender wants to get with you. That's really successful. Right? And some that are, not, it doesn't have to be, I guess, not your gender. So everyone wants to get with you. Everyone wants to get with your gender. Wants to get with. So that's our definition of success. Now the question is, what is real success? And what I'm suggesting is that as Muslims, as Muslim Americans, as Muslims the world over, we've missed the whole point. We've missed the whole point. Because the whole point of divine message, the whole point of God communicating to this human family, He put us on earth. He made very clear why He put us on earth. Inni ja'alun fil ardi khalifa. I'm making on earth a caretaker, a representative, someone, a family, Adam and his offspring, and all the people that will live on this earth. Their job is to elevate it, inspire each other, pull each other to what's best, make each other happy, make each other have peace, so that all of them together live in harmony for one purpose, to represent the glory of God. That's what a Muslim is. A Muslim says, I submit willingly to make the choices that are really hard to make my nation better, to have a greater America. So not only is a Muslim supposed to feel comfortable being American, a Muslim is supposed to stand proudly and loudly and say, I am the most patriotic man or woman, and I want to be if I'm not. Because patriotism is to want what's what for your faith, what's best for your nation. And if a Muslim who says, I follow Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, I follow the prophets, Moses and Abraham and Noah, I follow the prophets, Jesus and David, peace upon them all, I want what's best for my nation. And I will work relentlessly to make happen what's best for my nation. Because I have no doubt that there is a solution for every problem that my nation faces. And the problem isn't that there's no solution. The problem is that we're working for what we define as success that's for me and not for those solutions. And today, what's beautiful about this time in the history of our human family is that you guys are a generation now that's looking for my purpose, looking for me. That's why Robbie didn't want to just become a doctor. Maybe he will decide to become a doctor. But he didn't want to do it just because his dad wants him to do it. Because his dad probably wanted him to do it for the big house and lots of money. You guys are getting tired of me saying that. So, he wants to do it for something more. And that's a good thing. You guys can start that movement together, not just the Muslims in this room, but the Muslims in this room need to understand. I need to understand. We need to rediscover our faith and proclaim that our faith is not just a religion to practice on a day of the week. It's not just a set of rituals that we do that are genuinely beautiful and very, very, inspiring to watch when we watch Muslims pray and we prostrate our heads and we put them on the ground to humble ourselves to God. Yes, that is inspiring. That's beautiful to talk about. But we do that not because that's the end that we see. We don't pray and put our heads on the ground because that's the end. That's a means to an end. It's a means to humbling what's inside of ego, to submit to the decisions that will move this world forward better, even if they're not going to lead potentially to the big house and the nice car and the pretty. So, the reality is that this is not an easy task. It's not an easy task because everybody, when I talk about this, says, we love what you're saying. Absolutely, that's what Islam is. Islam is about making this world better. Okay, good. We all agree it's about making the world better. I don't think there's any religion or faith group that will come and say, no, our religion isn't about making the world better. Our religion is about keeping this world the same exact way as it is. We don't want world peace. Find me a religion that would say that. There isn't one. So then what's unique? What makes you as a Muslim choose to be Muslim? Or is there no uniqueness? There has to happen a rediscovery for every one of us as to what is that uniqueness. What is the vision? Is there a vision for our nation, for our American nation? That I, as an American, who claims to submit to the faith of the one God and follow all his prophets that were sent to earth until the day of resurrection. And the last one is Muhammad, and then they passed the baton. All those prophets passed the baton to the followers of the prophets. No more prophets and messengers will come to earth. And that job is given to the followers of the prophets. And the job is not just to practice some rituals. One of my teachers once told me that if the people who persecuted Prophet Muhammad had offered him what we do in America today as the faith, if he had said to them, what I want to do to practice Islam is to be like the Muslims in the future in America. If he would have had a picture of what we do, having nice mosques, beautiful, nice buildings, we bubble ourselves inside of them and pray, judge people when they come in the door that don't look like us or talk like us or from our nationality. Let's say we solved that problem. If we had that model and he went to Quraysh, the people who fought him, and they wanted to kill him and had a ransom for his head, if they had offered him that option, if he had offered them that option, they not only would have said that's fine with us, they would have built the mosques for him. because that's what they wanted religion to look like. They wanted it to not challenge the status quo. They wanted religion to maintain the elites in their elite status. They wanted religion to maintain the income gap. They wanted religion to allow the powerful men to abuse the non-powerful women. They wanted religion to do those things. And if Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, would have said, build me mosques, and I'll keep these guys I'm preaching, changing the world to, inside of them, and we'll invite you sometimes to our dinners. I'm just kidding. And we'll invite you sometimes to our dinners. They would have built the mosques for you. But that's not what he did. That's not what he wanted. From the first day that the revelation came, and they were sitting around a group of slaves, freed slaves, women, at a time when no one could make a decision about their own personal life unless they took the answer from their master. That was the time of the prophet. And they were sitting around him, and God reveals verses that tell them, you are responsible for changing what's happening that's wrong. Telling this to people who can't even change, who can't even make decisions in their own lives. So no one should come and tell me that, well, I have to first, I will do what you're saying. That is good. That's what the faith I want. But I'll do that after I get the big house and the nice car. You guys are getting tired of it. But you haven't gotten tired of it for the tens of years that we've defined it as our success. So the problem isn't Fox News. The problem isn't Fox News. This sounds crazy, I know. But the problem is not Fox News. The problem is that those who can have a much more compelling, much more inspiring, much more empowering story in a 30-second pitch than 10 hours of Fox News, they don't tell their story. They haven't even discovered their story, the narrative of this faith of submission to one God. So it's on every one of us to discover that narrative and to start living it first before trying to preach it. Every one of us who's and everyone who's not. It's about discovering, is this something really unique? So yes, awareness is good, but deep discovery is even better. Because all of us everybody wants to go to paradise, but nobody wants to die. That's a country song. And so what that means is that all of us want to make a big difference. All of us want success. But the sacrifice we're willing to give may not be up to the challenge of what it will take to get that success. And if what we want is to make an impact on this world, it doesn't take hundreds of thousands of people. Sometimes we think that if we're really going to change the fact that lobby dollars is what moves all of our elected officials to do anything, there's no way we can change that. It's been like that for tens of years. So we're going to need billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of people to actually make an impact on it. But that's never been how change happened. It's always been about a small group of people being committed, willing to sacrifice, willing to give their time, their talent, their treasure to make that difference, and they stick to it for all their life. And sometimes they see it while they're alive, and sometimes it happens after they die. And they don't see it at all. But it does happen because of what they did. So what is it that I would say you should name your cause to do? One is that it has to be that we realize that everyone here is responsible to partake in jihad. Did I shock you guys? The problem is the word has been changed from what it actually means. If I poll this room, 80% of this room will tell me that jihad is war, or some type of conflict, or engaging in conflict. That's jihad to the majority of the world, Muslim and non-Muslim. So the problem is not Fox News. The problem is that we need to define jihad and make it our call to action. And jihad is the relentless pursuit of justice and goodness. It's being willing, being ready. And here's the proof. for those who are wondering where I got this from that are Muslim. The Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, has a saying where he says, you have to hate war. لا تتمنوا لقاء العدو. Never wish to engage in a battle. That's a very clear statement. You guys agree? Never desire to engage in battle. He says that to his followers. At the same time, the Quran revealed to him that he recited says, if your parents and your children, or your businesses, or your houses, or in that time, or your thoroughbreds, which in our day would be your Bentleys or Teslas or whatever, are more beloved to you than God and His Messenger and jihad in His cause, then wait until God comes with His command. Which means that you're doing something really wrong. So God in the Quran says, you have to love jihad more than your parents. The same parents that He tells you in the Quran that you have to serve at their feet, even if they tell you to worship other than God, and the only thing you don't do is obey them in worshiping other than God. But everything else, you serve at their feet. The same parents, He tells you, if you love them more than jihad, then you're wrong. The same prophet who recited this revelation says, never wish for battle. Never love battle. So is he telling you not to love what God wants you to love? Never. Battle is not jihad. Battle and war is not jihad. But if a person has to defend, then they have to defend. But for them to desire, or to seek, or to provoke, or to use as a tool before they maximize the use of other tools, then that is not the following of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. And that is not Islam. So jihad, that all of us as Americans must take up, must reclaim from the likes of ISIS and others. That Muslim Americans must become concerned and believing it is obligatory upon every Muslim, is the jihad of striving for the greatness of America. Is striving relentlessly with time, talent, and treasure to solve the problems of our nation. That's jihad. And I call everyone in this room to realize how much potential you have to reclaim jihad from those who have adulterated and changed. Thank you.
And then after we get back, we're going to have a Q&A for anyone that has questions for Omar Atia. Thank you so much, Omar Atia. And can we give him one more round of applause, everyone?